Hello guys, welcome to another discussion video. So in this video we're going to conclude this paper that we've already started. So remember we covered section A. Now we're going to be looking at section B. Okay, so this is section B of JC Mathematics 2021 paper 2. Okay, so try to follow along with us as we discuss the paper. Okay, so the first question says, the diagram below shows triangles A and B. Use it to answer question 15. 15a says, triangle B is the image of triangle A under a transformation. Describe the transformation fully. Okay, the transformation here is going to be reflection. Okay, reflection. It's easy to identify a reflection because you can see that A is similar to B, okay, even though it's inverted. So whenever you look at yourself in the mirror, you'll see how, the image is always like that. Okay, so you can see that B is the image of A. Okay, then the other thing that you need to use to describe this transformation is the plane of reflection. I get the plane of reflection. So the plane of reflection is going to be represented by the equation of the respective axis of that plane. Okay, so the plane is found by what? By looking at the equal distance between the respective points. Okay, so when you look at this point here and that point there, they are similar. So you find the midpoint distance between those points. So it's going to be there. You go to the other one, this point and that one are similar points. So you find the midpoint distance between those 2 points. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the midpoint distance is going to be what? 3. 1, 2, 3, which is here. Okay, and then when you join those, you'll see that you identify your line of reflection. So your line of reflection passes by the y-axis equals to 2. So therefore, reflection line is what? Reflection line equation is y is equals to 2. Let's say maybe the line was somewhere here. Okay, then it's going to be what? It's going to be passing through the x-axis. Therefore, it is going to be like x is equals to -3, where that reflection line passes on the respective axis. Okay. Okay, on to the next question. The next question says, triangle B is translated onto triangle C by vector -5, 2, -5, 2. Draw and label triangle C on the grid. Okay, now a way we can do this, there are two methods of doing this. You can identify the coordinates of the points of triangle B. Okay, for example, the coordinate of this point, that point, and then you add it to the vector. Okay, and then you add those points or those coordinates to the vectors to find the new location of those points. Okay, after being translated, or you can manually do it. So let's first use the first method. Okay, so we're going to manually move these points. Okay, so we'll label this as A, B, C. Okay, so that we can keep track of our points. Okay, so we're at point A. So -5 means we are moving in the x-axis direction. Okay, and then 2 move the 2 there represents the y. Okay, so when it comes to x-axis, whenever it's negative, it means that you're going to be moving left. Okay, left. Then if it's positive, you move right. All right, and then if it's y axis, if it's negative, you're moving down. Okay, down. And then if it's positive, you're moving up. Okay, so we're at point A there. It says we need to translate that point by moving 5 steps to the left because it's negative. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we move what? And then we move 2 steps. It's +2, so we move 2 steps up. 1, 2. So our new location for A is going to be there. So I'll just label it as A. Okay, and then we'll move on to the next one. We'll go to B there. Same thing. We start with x-axis first. Okay, so we're going to be moving -5. Negative means to the left, 5 steps to the left. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 2 steps up. 1, 2. So our new point B is going to be there. So label it B. Then C, same thing. -5, that means we're moving 5 steps to the negative side, to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, so we stopped here. And then we move 2 steps up. 1, 2. So point C, new location will be there. Then you take your ruler, and then you join these points. Okay, take a ruler and you join these points. Mine is not going to be accurate because I'm using a digital screen. Okay, so as you're using your pencil there, it should be easier for you to do. Okay, and then we join that. So then we label it what? We label it C. Okay, we label it C. And then the other option that you can use is to do what? Is to manually calculate the new coordinates, and then you just go to plot those coordinates. Okay, so A coordinates are 2, what's that, 1. Okay, then B, it's 2, -1. Okay, then C, the last point there, C is going to be 6, remember always start with the x-axis, 6, -1. Okay, so now what I would like to do to this point is I will place them like vectors. Okay, I'll place them like vectors, or even if you don't do that, you can just put the vector in front of them. Okay, so the -5, 2. Okay, remember this is the x and then this is the y. In the vector, this is the x, this is the y. Okay, so x and x's are added, y and y's are added. Okay, so you don't just mix them up. Okay, so we're going to be adding this. Okay, we're going to be adding this. So the 2 is going to be added to the -5, the 1 is going to be added to the 2. So 2 plus -5, we get -3, so this is going to be the new coordinate now. Okay, -3, 3. We do the same thing to the next one. 5, 2, -5, 2. So this 2 and the -1 there. 2 plus -5, we get what? -3, -1 plus 2, we get what? +1. Then the last one, -5, 2. Okay, let's just remove that ruler. Okay, so okay, 6 plus -5, that's like 6 minus 5, which is 1, -1 plus 2, that's +1. Okay, so those are the new what? Those are the new coordinates for the A, B, C points. Then let's just confirm with what we already plotted there. So we'll go to A. A is -3, -3, -3, 3, which is going to be this point there, which is correct. And then the next one is going to be -3, 1, -3, 1, which is here, which is correct for B. The next one is going to be 1, 1, +1, +1, +1, which is C, which is correct. Okay, so you choose whichever method that you want to use. Are you going to manually move the points, or you can just add the vectors together. This is just a an introduction to matrices. So we're applying those concepts here so that you find the new coordinates after adding the two matrices that you have there. Okay, on to the next one. It says the diagram below represents a vertical pole. I hope we labeled it C. Okay, the diagram below represents a vertical pole TR supported by a cable RS. Use it to answer question 16. 16a says calculate the length of the cable RS. So as you can see there, we have a right angle triangle. Okay, so what principle are we going to be using here? We're going to be using the Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so we're looking for RS, this here. Okay, so remember that it says that a squared plus b squared is equals to c squared. So this is the formula that we're going to use. Now we're going to identify what a is, what b is, what c is. C is just the longest side. Okay, c is going to be the longest side. How do you find the longest side? The longest side usually is going to be in front of this right angle here. Okay, so this is the longest side, so this is c, and then a here, b here. Okay, it doesn't really matter, a and b can interchange them, there won't be any consequence. All right, so this is our formula, so that means rs is the same as c. Okay, rs is the same as c, so we're going to be looking for c. So let's make c subject to the formula. So we take the square root here. Therefore, c is equals to the square root of a squared plus b squared. Let's just remove this. Okay, which is going to be equal to, what is a? A is 5 squared plus b is 12 squared, and then you punch that into the calculator, you should be able to get the answer. Okay, so it's going to be 13 meters. So that's the answer there. I'm running out of space, so I can't really show everything. So this is just to so whenever you are working under a square root like this, you find the final value here first, and then you can take the square root of that final value. Okay, to avoid making mistakes. So this is going to be equal to the square root of, so 5 squared plus 12 squared, it gives me 169, and then you take the square root of 169, which is going to be 13. Okay, then b says calculate the size of angle RST. Okay, all right, so here we're going to use what? SOHCAHTOA. Okay, SOHCAHTOA here, trigonometry. Okay, all right, so what are we looking for? Angle RST. RST, this is the angle that we're going to be using, we're looking for. Okay, so if that's your angle, let's label our respective sides. Okay, so if that's the angle, that means that this is going to be the opposite. Okay, opposite side is the one that is opposite the angle. Okay, and then the longest side is the hypotenuse. Okay, then only one side is remaining, which is the adjacent side. Okay, the adjacent side. So we've defined our sides with respect to the angle. Okay, with respect to the angle. So the longest side, the hypotenuse, the side opposite the angle, the opposite side, then the one attached to the angle, or the remaining one, is going to be the adjacent. Okay, then our trigonometry says, or our formula, the way we remember it, SOHCAHTOA. Okay, what does that mean? So means sine theta is equals to the opposite over the hypotenuse. Then this one, cos theta, is equals to the adjacent over hypotenuse. Then tan means tan theta is equals to opposite over adjacent. Okay, what do we have? We have the adjacent and the opposite. So it's advisable that you don't use what you are not given here. You can't go and use the hypotenuse like, okay, I found it here in the previous, what if this one is wrong? So you can't really use it. So use what you have. So what do we have? We have the opposite and the adjacent. So the only one that has those two is the TOA. Okay, so that means we're going to be using this formula here. Okay, so let's take our formula. Tan theta is equals to opposite over adjacent. Okay, so remember we're looking for this thing here, the angle. Theta means the angle, so that's what we're looking for. So we make angle subject to the formula. Okay, so you can divide by tan both sides. Okay, divided by tan. So when you divide by tan, it becomes theta is equals to tan inverse. Okay, so you always write it like this: tan inverse of that fraction there, opposite over adjacent. Okay, and then we can just plug everything inside, and then you punch that into your calculator. The opposite side is what? 12 divided by 5. Okay, and then your answer is going to be 67.38, and then you round out to one decimal place is going to be 67.4 degrees. Now the only advice I can give you here is that whenever you're doing this type of calculation where you have this sine, theta, cos, always make sure that your calculator is in degree, not rad. Okay, so always reset your calculator when you're doing this type of questions that involve angles and trig functions. Okay, 17a. Okay, so we can't really answer this one, the construction one. We're not gonna do that. Okay, even this one, we're not gonna do this one. I'll make a special video for the graphing, because it takes so much time that we don't have. Okay, 19 says that the diagram below shows a closed box in the form of a cube. Use it to answer question 19. Calculate the total area of all the faces of the box. Okay, so this one is very easy. Okay, so area of this box is equals to what? It's equals to this face here, which appears both in the this side and the back side. Okay, so that means 2 times this face here. The face has this unit, it has 15 this side, and then on this side it has 10. Okay, there's 2 of them. Okay, they are in pairs. Remember, those faces are in pairs. Okay, this is why I'm putting the 2 here. Plus, let's take this backward here. So it's 2 of this face, which is made up of, or which has the parameters 8 and 10, plus, and then what's left? This top part here. Okay, this top part here, which has, is 2 of them, the top part and the bottom part. So it has what? It has parameters that are maybe let's make it, you know, similar to how it looks like on the thing. Okay, so this one has a perimeter of 15 by 8. Okay, 15 by 8. All right, so therefore area is equals to 2 times 15 times 10. Okay, so these 2 here, because there's 2 of them, times the length times width. That's the formula for that shape, okay, of a rectangle, plus 2 times 8 times 10 plus 2 times 15 times 8. Okay, which is equals to, you punch that in the calculator. For our discussions to be short, I'm just going to be writing the final answer. Okay, but you get the explanation. Okay, then this is going to give you 700 centimeters squared. Okay, of course you have to come up with the answer here, then you come up with the answer here, the answer there. Okay, so that you show all of your work. Okay, so that you show all of your work. Okay, on to the next one. B. In the space below, sketch the net of the box shown. So basically the net is what this would look like. What this would look like if we were to cut the individual components, okay, but without attaching without, I don't know if this attaching is it's a word. Yeah, so making sure that this individual parts are still attached. Okay, so basically that's what the question wants us to do. All right, so your sketch is going to look something like this. Okay, maybe let's just do it step by step so that you see. So we'll start with this one here. Okay, so that's going to be this. Okay, and then we'll go to this one. This one is going to be here, and then the top part. All right, and then this side I'm gonna draw it back here. Okay, what's missing is going to be this side here. Okay, this side, and then the back side. Okay, and the back side. So this side and the back side. So that's the sketch there. Okay, that's the sketch. Okay, also we're not gonna answer this one. So the graph questions, we can't really answer them because they take so much time. The diagram below represents a plane of a field A, B, C, D, E, F. Use it to answer question 21A. Calculate the perimeter of the field. Calculate the perimeter of the field. What is perimeter? Perimeter is basically the sum of what? The length around the shape. Okay, the length around the shape. Okay, so how do we sum that? To sum the length around this shape, we're going to move from here all the way to the other side. So therefore parameter is going to be AB plus BC plus CD plus DE plus EF plus FA. Okay, so I'm just representing those different lengths that we have there. Okay, so what is AB? AB is going to be 450 meters, of course. I'm just not writing meters so that I avoid any confusion. Okay, BC is going to be 900 meters plus, as long as you don't forget the units at the end, then you should be fine. CD is similar, okay, similar to AB, so it's also 450 plus DE is similar to this side here, AF, so it's also 350 plus EF is 400. We already said FA is going to be 350, which is similar to this guy here. Then you punch that easily into your calculator. You should be able to get what is the number that I found? 2900 meters. Okay, so that's the answer that we get there. Of course, just make sure that the numbers are punched correctly in your calculator. That's the advice I would give you. B, calculate the area of the field. So area is equals to, now what I'm going to do is, whenever you have these complex shapes, what you try to do is to divide them, if possible, into shapes that you know, okay, or you know the formulas too. So there isn't really a formula that you can use to calculate the area of this complex half shape, okay, but we know that if we start dividing this shape, we can generate two shapes here. Okay, this first shape here is going to be what? That's a rectangle. We know how to find the area of a rectangle. the area of a rectangle is equals to length times width. And then this one here, what's that? That's another shape that we know. How do we find the area of that shape? We know that is going to be half a plus b multiplied by the height. Okay, so that's how we find the area of a trapezium. All right, so that means our area is going to be equal to this guy here plus the rectangle plus the what? The trapezium. Okay, so how do you get the area of a rectangle? It's length times width plus half a plus b times height. Okay, what is our length? Let me just add a different color here. Okay, remember that the length here is 900. Okay, 900 by 450. Okay, 450. Okay, what about the other side for the trapezium? Maybe let's just erase it so that we can have room to work with. Okay, so this here, the smaller side, the smaller length there is called A. Okay, so that's what A is. Then this one is B, and then the height is going to be this side length here. That's the height. All right, so how do we get those different? So A is going to be equal to what? A is the smaller section there, which is 400, and then B is the base here, which is going to be 900. And then what is the height? The height is going to be found by, remember the height is from this to that. Okay, so we already have a piece of this, okay, and a piece of that. Okay, so that means if we subtract 700 minus this 700 minus the 450 here, 450, we should be able to get what? This here. Okay, let me just repeat that. So we have the entire height, okay, or this length here. What we're looking for is this part here. We know what? We know this area. So we, to find the missing part here, we can just say 700 minus this here, 450. Then you get 250. Okay. 700 minus 250, that's 5. No, that's 150, not 250. Okay, let me just check my calculations. 700 minus 450, that's 250. What am I doing? Yeah, because I did this previously and it was 250. Okay, anyways, let's continue with our calculations. Always make sure that you have everything correct. So 900 times 450 plus the half is just 0.5 times the height, which is 250, times a plus b. 400 plus 900 is going to be what? It's going to be 1300. And then you punch that into the calculator, and then what do you get? So the answer is going to be a very large number, 567,500. So that's the answer there. Free marks. Okay, free marks. Okay, I believe that is going to be, oh no, not really the final answer. Okay, last question here, 23. A bundle of spinach costs P PQ. Express in terms of Q the cost of 8 bundles of spinach. So that is going to be 8Q. A bundle of rape cost B. A bundle of rape cost PR. Express in terms of R the cost of 14. So it's going to be 14R. The total cost of 8 bundles of spinach and 14 bundles of rape is 58. Form an equation for the total cost of the bundles of spinach and rape and show that it reduces to that. Okay, so to form an equation, we are going to add these two here. Okay, 8Q plus 14R is going to be 58. So you don't need to put the P, okay, because here we are forming equations. Okay, so now we have to reduce this equation so that it's like that one there. Now a way to reduce is to find what the highest common factor between those numbers. If there are letters there, then you can go for the letters, but here numbers are the ones that can have a common factor. So I'm going to divide by 2. Okay, so if you divide 8 by 2, you get 4Q plus 2 here 1, 2 here 7, 7R equals to 2 here 1, 2 here 29, and then this looks like what the question requested. D says another equation that can represent the total cost of bundles of spinach and the bundles of rape is this one. 3Q plus 5R is equals to 21. Solve the equation in C and in D simultaneously. Now, a way of solving simultaneous equation, you have two methods: elimination and substitution. Substitution is usually difficult for most of you, so we'll do what? We'll do elimination. All right, so Q plus 5R. So substitution, you just eliminate or you remove one of the variables. So we have two variables there, Q and R. So by elimination, you eliminate one of them and then you can easily solve for the other one because you can't solve them at the same time. Okay, so you have first eliminate the other one so that you can solve one at a time. Okay, this one is going 4Q plus 7R is equals to 29. Okay, so what we're going to do is you see these numbers here, we're going to eliminate Q, so you just take this number to the other side, this one to the other side. Okay, so you're going to multiply. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. So you're going to multiply equation 1 by 4. Okay, so times 4. Then you're going to multiply the second equation by 3. In doing so, you're going to get the same value for Q, so that when you subtract one equation from another equation, the Q can disappear. Okay, so that's the whole idea behind us doing that. Okay, so let me just remove a bunch of this stuff so that it's clear. Okay, it's taking forever to reverse this. Okay, so that's the explanation. So the first equation multiplied by 4 times 4, this one times 3. Okay, I am running out of space, but we'll just use the space down here. Okay, so if you do that, then the equations are going to be 4 times 3, that's 12Q, plus 5 times 4, that's 20R, which is equals to 21 times 4, that is going to be equals to, that is going to be equals to 84. All right, 3 times this is 3 times 4Q is going to be 12Q plus 7R times 3, it is going to be 21R, which is equals to 29 times 3, it is going to be 87. Okay, now we subtract equation 2 from equation 1. So we put a subtraction sign. 12Q minus 12Q, it's 0. So they cancel out. Then 20R minus 21R is going to be negative 1r, which is equals to 84 minus 87 is going to be negative 3. Then divided by negative 1 divided by negative 1. R therefore is equals to positive 3. So that means R is equals to positive 3. Now that we know the value of R, we can take that value of R and go into one of our original equations, either this one or this one, and then you substitute in the value of R, and then you can compute, or you can find the value of Q. Simple as that. So 3Q plus 5R is equals to 21. Now I'm going to replace this with the value of R. So 3Q plus 5 times 3, which is 15, is equals to 21. Now I'm solving for Q. Minus 15 minus 15. 3Q is equals to 21 minus 15 is 6. Okay, divided by 3 divided by 3. Therefore, Q is equals to 2. So Q is equals to 2. Then now you can check whether your answer is correct by taking in these two values into one of the equations, and then they should equate to in the number stated there. Like 3Q, what is the value of Q? Is 2. 3 times 2 plus 5 times, that is the value of R, 3 is equals to, should give us 21. Let's see. So this is 6 plus 15 is 21, which means our answer is correct. So that's the good thing about this question. You can mark for yourself. Okay, you can mark for yourself. Okay, so this here is going to be what is the value of 3 bundles of spinach? So that is going to be 3. So it's 3 times spinach is what? Spinach is Q. Okay, Q, the value of Q is 2, so we get 6. So it's going to be 6 bull. Okay, so that's the end of that. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.